Well, welcome to a special event tonight. Glad you all could be here. This is Love is Sourdough Bread with Betty and Atta. So we thank them so much for all their preparation and what they've done to organise us to be on tonight. And if you're watching the replay, you're going to enjoy this. But if you're in person, you get to ask all the questions. And so thank you for being here. So now I'm going to turn the time over to Betty and Atta. Take it away.
Okay. Hello, everyone. And that's Betty. Before we start anything, we would like to present you one of many, many kinds of the sourdough breads. This is the one which I recently made. You can see how yummy it has to be because I have this. I have just this part which you can see over there. For making this this amount of the bread, I used something like 600 grams of the flour. And this one is made from the wholemeal spelt flour because I just was very short with rye one. And my family likes this kind of the bread. For this reason, I make something like that. You can see the texture. This is a bit sticky one, but it has to be this way. They are very heavy flours and they make the texture this way. And Atta makes a bit different one because her family likes something which reminds regular bread, and she uses wheat flour. And if you will be interested, in the future, she can show you how to make this kind of the bread, which she makes and her family loves it. And this is very interesting to everybody that we can have one mother and then we can play with this mother as much as we would love. And I hope you will like it and you will have really big fun and your family will just have many benefits of this. What we are going to do today, we would like to tell you just a few sourdough benefits. Then we will start to make the starter, which is the mother of sourdough. And every single day, I will post the picture of my one, how it looks like. You will have just the clue how it should like and how it should work within this kind of the wet weather. And then I just will make similar bread to this one. You will see just, you know, how easy it is and how lovely it is. Then let's start. Some benefits of sourdough. This is very, very interesting that this kind of the bread was made for many, many centuries. Then somewhere within 19th century, just bakers started to do something like shortcuts, and they started to add to regular sourdough a bit of yeast. And it is not real sourdough because sourdough has white yeast and lactic acid. And it is very beneficial for every digestive system. It looks after the good bacteria which we are having inside. This is very important that this kind of the bread has low glycemic index. If we compare glycemic index, sourdough and regular commercial bread, this one is very low index, glycemic index. It contains a lot of lactic acid, which is very healthy for digestive system, and also white yeast. It is rich with many vitamins and minerals like zinc, magnesium, and potassium. And what is interesting, which I didn't know, that regular bread can be made from very good quality of the flour, but it's not used sourdough. Just in the texture is something what is called like phytic acid. And this phytic acid like limitates absorption of the minerals. That means from this one, body takes everything what is in, from regular one can't because of this phytic acid. People who have any disease like celiakia still need to be careful with choosing any kind of the bread because their bodies react a bit different way. And it is always good to know what we can just serve for our body. Like, do not make it like unhealthy or like suffering, something like that. But most of the people are really enjoying. And this is the point number one. Now, we will start to make the sourdough mother. Before it, I just explain you how it looks like. Firstly, you need to know that there are many recipes for making it, and every recipe is good. Every recipe is very similar, and you can really choose whatever you wish. I just will present you with this one which works for me, and it will be the easiest way for me. But if you will go to the Google, to internet, to YouTube, you can really successfully make something different, what maybe more suits you. And what we're going to do, we need very simple equipment, which is the wooden spoon and the glass jar. What I prefer, because we would like here we would like to make very nice environment for bacteria and for white yeast. For this reason, I just recommend you just sterilize those things. That means just pour hot water into the jar. I am doing it always popping the jar to the sink and just pour a bit of the hot water, checking if not any scratches, anything happens. Then I pour a bit more. And then I just put inside the spoon, and by one turn, everything is sterilized. Other people which I watched, they are not paying attention about the quality of the equipment. Probably everything works well also, but this is my advice to use something like that. Another thing, this is the flour. We can make actually sourdough from any flour which we wish. What is recommended? It's recommended to use wholemeal flour because wholemeal flour has a lot of
but it doesn't have to be wholemeal. It could be just regular rice flour.
Can be regular one, but if we wish to use just regular one, it's good to read also what we should add, because within the process, we might need to add a bit of the sugar of the honey, because yeast needs to eat something. For this reason, if we start something, my recommendation will be always wholemeal. Could be wheat flour, could be spelt one, could be something, if some people have a problem with digestive system, like can't digest gluten, could be gluten-free one. But like I said, if you choose something different, it's always good to read something, because you probably have to just add some simple tablespoon of the sugar or of the honey. This one is safe one, and for sure, what I know and what I read, this one is for sure rich with everything what sourdough needs. And it is like the easiest way. We do not have to look after other things than this kind of the flour and just lukewarm boiled water. And how it looks like, we know that we are having flour, we are having lukewarm boiled water, we are having jar, and we are having spoon. This is something what is needed for environment. And then we just pop on the top some paper towel, and we bend it by elastic. Can be paper towel, but if some of you have something different, like this kind of the cloth, regular cloth, if we can in the kitchen works, or even if we have kids and we are having spare or generation nappy, which was used safe, we can use this kind of things also. It's important that sourdough needs to have opportunity to breathe. We will use today something what is really easy to get for everybody. It will be just piece of paper towel and elastic around.
Okay. Any questions?
Any questions?
No? So let's move on.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
one question.
Yes.
One question is, can we just get a close-up view of the flour that you're using, please? Just zoom in on it. Very nice.
I really recommend you this flour. Like I said, I've been listening to many people, and most of them advise that it's good to use real rye flour. So this
Whole
one, whole meal, because this one has a lot of nutrition and everything. What for the future sourdough, it's nice, and it's like rich with.
Minerals, yeah?
Yes, minerals, vitamins. It's rich, like this is good quality of the food for bacteria and for white yeast.
Okay. Any questions? No? Move on.
Move on. The whole procedure will take for us minimum 7 days. And because we experience what right now, wet weather, it's a bit colder than usually. We will see if our sourdough will be really eager to be ready to make the first bread on the 7th day. Maybe we will need to add 1 extra day. We will see within the week, but minimum 7 days. 7 days. We need to be prepared for this longest of the process.
Someone asked the question about if rye flour is okay, not the whole meal. Is it okay?
Should be okay. Should be okay. Yes. If you have in your kitchen something like any brown, like if you have any brown, I have oat brown.
Oat bran.
Bran. And for example, you have just rye flour, you can add a bit. Something like any bran. Any. If. But it's, I guess, should work. It's important that it has to be quite heavy flour. I will try for this person to find the information. If it's not wholemeal one, if this person shouldn't add a bit of the honey or the sugar, okay? Because I need to figure out what I know. When I listen to the people, they used any kinds of the flour, but each of it was wholemeal. If it's not wholemeal, I guess it should be add something extra, like I said before. Let me check it.
Sugar,
maybe, but I can't promise right now. I know that if it's like not wholemeal one, I guess a bit of the sugar or a bit of the honey has to be added, or any bran if at home. Because I will give the answer, okay, for this question.
Okay.
And how it looks like. This is everything very, very beautiful, and everything is very easy. Today, we will pour this glass with 1 glass of the rye flour and half of the glass of the lukewarm boiled water. We will mix it nicely today, and we will place it into the dark place in the kitchen, which is this cupboard. it happens today, nothing more. And we wait for sourdough for 24 hours. That means tomorrow, around the same time, I will fix sourdough again. But day 2, we need to just add here half of the glass of the flour. It will be this glass, and 1/4 jar of the water. And we will mix it, and we will leave it for another 24 hours. On day 3, we just add 1 tablespoon of the flour and 1 tablespoon of the water. We will mix it well, we cover, and we will leave it. And what we will do on day 3, we will repeat on day 4, 5, 6, and 7. That means the process which we will do on day 3, we repeat 4, 5, 6, 7. It's easy. Today, 1 glass of the flour, tomorrow, half of the glass. Today, half glass of the water, tomorrow, 1/4 glass of the water. Day 3 and others, 1 tablespoon of the flour and 1 tablespoon of the water. And it's easier if we pour first water, then we add the flour, because it's easier to mix. It's not like the rule, but it is just easier to do it. Are you ready? Would you like to see how we are doing it?
Yes.
Okay, then we start. Here we are having flour, and I believe that it's really good to touch everything by the hands, because our hands are very, very important and will just help for this lovely new alive creature which will happen here to be healthy, happy, and to help us to make really lovely bread. Then, okay, it will be 1 glass. Can be messy, doesn't bother us. Okay. Okay. Now I know that my water, it's not warm enough. I can just feel it by touching. For this reason, I just pour more water from the jar. Here we are having freshly boiled filtered water. I will pour more because I want to just feel. Maybe a bit, should be a bit hotter than this one. Then we boil a bit. The temperature of the water should be, how to explain, should be just nicely warm should be nicely warm. How to say?
Room temperature. Right?
Sorry?
Room temperature.
Room temperature, a bit more than room one, just a bit more. This one is quite, I would add just 1 drop and it will make the difference for me.
Lukewarm. Lukewarm?
Lukewarm boiled water. Yes.
How much water did you say again?
Yes. Now,
It's half of the glass,
yes.
right? Half of the glass?
Of the glass here.
Half of the glass.
Half of the glass.
Half a glass. Or thin glass.
Half of the glass.
Thank you.
1 glass and half of the glass. It is half. We should add a bit because we are having here more water. I just add a bit.
So glass of flour and half of the glass of water.
Up. And now mixing. and have a look. I can see that this half of the glass is not enough for this flour because it is not easy to mix it. That means we need to add a bit more. Every flour reacts a bit differently. We just need to add a bit more here. The consistency of the starter needs to be like sour cream or like mud, something like that.
It's
Just a bit more.
1-to-1.
Nearly 1-to-1 for this flour, I can see.
And we are using this flour. And basically it's 1-to-1.
It's the best if you will see in a second how it should look like.
Are you all good, guys? Okay.
Maybe it. Look how it looks like.
And then thinking my jar isn't big enough.
I would say it is like sour cream or like a mud.
Yeah, you would need to have at least 1 liter of jar, I think.
Yes, the jar has to be 1 liter one.
You know, 1 liter, okay. It's
Mhm.
clean. This is 1 liter.
Yeah.
Mine's very sticky.
This
Yeah.
is sticky.
It has to be sticky.
It has to be sticky. If it's too sticky, just this is the information. It has to be add more water.
Oh, more water.
Just more water.
More water. Oh,
Something like that.
Can you take this one out
Yes,
of it?
yes, I will.
So just to show it.
should it be clumping together or should it be runny?
Clumpy.
Yes.
Clumpy.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. So when you take in the hands,
yes.
yeah, so it's like that.
Uh-huh.
Got it? All right, any questions? No?
Trying hard to mix it.
Then you need to add a little bit more water.
More water then.
Okay.
I am also surprised because before when I made half of it was enough, but this flour maybe is
Yeah,
richer
mine
with
is like this,
something,
dear. Like
and
this.
that's okay.
We still can't see it. Can you show it a little bit higher? Yeah. I think you would need to add a little bit more water.
Okay.
It has to be more like mud.
Mud? Dry mud or
A
wet
little
mud?
muddy, yeah.
Mud is dry, but
You need to add a little bit more water.
No, mud doesn't match the description. Mud is mud has
Is it
got
like
some
a mud
dry or sometimes mud is.
or a little bit
Yes.
thicker than custard, maybe?
Yeah, that's the thing better in description.
Okay. Yeah.
Can understand that one, but not the mud one.
All right. Well, something in between. But
Yeah.
you need to have it in a jar or some kind of glass container,
Yeah.
because then you have to cover it with the paper
Yeah.
towel or cloth
Custard is more.
and put it
It's not
on
like
site
custard in here.
for one
Custard is
day.
more water. You know? Custard is more thick. This is like sticking to the spoon badly. See?
Yeah, it's sticky.
It's
Yeah, that's
sticky.
good.
And like, have a look, the procedure which is recommended usually takes, gives us some clue, but then when we start to do it by ourselves, we can see how it works. In this situation, we can see just we had to add almost 1 glass of the water to this amount of the flour. That means tomorrow, when we add half of the glass of the flour, it probably will be needed half of the glass of the water. The consistency has to be the same, like a muddy, gooey mixture.
Yeah, sticky.
Sticky, but lovely.
But not sticking to the spoon or sticky to the spoon.
Yeah, it does stick to the
The
spoon as
start
well,
to the spoon also. It
Okay.
sticks. Have a look. It sticks.
like
Yeah.
this. Hold on.
That's right. Okay.
Can you see that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think ours is good now.
Okay.
I think so. See, look.
Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay, my dear. I
Thank
won't
you.
add any more water.
Yeah, looks good to me. Okay. Are you guys done with it?
Sort of. I just put a little bit more water in mine.
Yeah, I think you have to. Yeah, look, see this one. That's not that. It's not that lumpy. I say. Little bit. No,
So tomorrow when we mix it with the water, do we take it out of the jar or do we just mix it in the
No,
jar?
you don't take it out of the jar. You keep it in the same jar. You just add into it. So
Oh,
every day you have to add. The second day you add. Remind me at the
Half of the glass of the flour.
Okay,
And
so
it looks like half of the glass of the water.
so for tomorrow, so this jar will stay like this until tomorrow.
mhm.
And tomorrow into the same jar, you don't take it out. You add half
Half.
of the glass of water
Yes,
and
half of the
Half
glass of
of
the
flour.
Just if you, maybe you do not add straight away half of the glass of the water, add a bit less, then add half of the glass of the flour, and you will see how it works.
The
If it will be
consistency.
this consistency, that's okay. If not, just add a bit of the water, drop by drop.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
okay.
Everything happens in this one jar. This is new home for our bacteria and yeast. All the time, for 7 days, they will live here.
And the yeast will make itself. The yeast will ferment. It will ferment in there itself.
Yes, it will be fermentation process, which happens exactly in this jar.
It will happen automatically.
Ah, we don't put any yeast.
All the time here.
That's a home. Home
That's
for
at
yeast
home, yes.
and bacteria.
And they do not like to be taken away. They like to stay here.
Mm. And then when do we start seeing the changes? What happens? Can you describe what happens
Probably the first day you won't see much.
Mhm.
Probably the third
The
day.
third of the fourth day, because we experience quite cold, wet weather, and we would see some bubbles.
So yeah, you will see
And-
some air coming out of it.
And we would feel some sour smell.
Mm.
I show you how bubbles
Oh, show me
might
the
look
one that,
like, because I have ready sour for today's bread. You can see.
perfect.
Oh, have a look. Can you
Yeah.
see? I had just this amount of the
Wow.
sour, then I gave for it something like this amount of the flour
Hmm.
and the same amount of the lukewarm boiled water, and it happened to it within 1.5 hours.
Okay, so from this amount, what we have in this jar,
Mm.
you will end up after 7 days, the full jar like this. That's why we need to have a bigger jars. Okay,
And you can just see here the bubbles.
Yes, I
Uh-huh.
can see. Yep, the bubble.
And
Okay.
on the top
There you
also.
go. Bubbles, and
And on
top
the top.
it's like a little bit bumpy.
Mm.
And now smelling.
So that's been 7 days now, that one?
Bigger than a liter.
This one is after 7 days, yes. So it's ready
Atta,
to
this is
make
a bit
bread.
older. This is
Older.
a bit older. This is this one which I use all the time, but it was produced this way.
How many liters is in a jar?
1 liter. 1 liter it will be enough. For making starter, 1 liter will be enough.
So this is 1 liter,
This is, but it will be enough. 1 liter will be enough.
the jar. one.
The jar of 1 liter will be enough.
Yeah,
This
this
one-
is my jar.
Oh yeah,
Enough?
looks good.
Enough?
Yeah, looks good
Oh.
to me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And we still will place the jar into something like the
Container.
container, because
Yeah.
if for some reason it will grow faster for us, it everything comes here, not making the dirt in our cupboard
yeah.
or oven.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Ah, that's a good idea.
This is good idea, really. You do not
Mm.
have any mess in whichever place you would like to place it.
We have to put in a dark room.
In the cabinets or in the oven, but don't turn on the oven.
Yes, 2 options. You know, choose the option which reminds you that you need to feed it. Sometimes people keep it in some very lovely place and then forgot about that.
Yes, me.
That is what we will do. We will pop it into the cupboard, and because we want for, maybe we will do it right now. I am taking first, we wish yeast well. Honey, be happy, be healthy, and you know, and grow. We wish you well. We place it here. Now we cover by the towel.
Wish you all well.
Do we put sugar in now or no?
No,
Well, what kind of flour did you use?
I got rye, but I don't know if it's wholemeal. I got it from bulk store.
add a bit.
Quarter of the teaspoon.
Maybe teaspoon
Of sugar, okay.
of, let me think for a while. I guess something, honey or sugar should be added in this situation. Just a bit, maybe not whole teaspoon, just, you know, just a bit, just in case. It is always, you know, if we even make any dough from yeast, we always add a bit of the sugar for giving them something like kind of the food energy.
Oh,
for
that's
the yeast to grow.
they eat it. Yeah, they eat
They
it.
eat
Okay.
it, yes.
So,
In
Betty,
your situation, for sure, nothing wrong happens to them.
Beautiful.
So we can put a bit. We'll put a little bit, and we'll see. Atta, we'll put a little bit.
yeah.
Just
Betty,
a bit.
Betty, if you don't
Today,
have,
no more. Just once.
Okay.
she can hear
Just
me.
for the starter. If you put half of the teaspoon, it should be enough.
Okay. So just today we put and then we don't put any more tomorrow.
Anymore. This is just to give them a kick for growing. That's all.
Yes, yes. It got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Should be okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay.
Is everyone okay with it? Did you put it in the jars?
Use your
Yes. Now we're gonna put some sugar and mix.
Oh, just yet, just a little bit.
Mhm.
Oh, what did you say about metal spoons? You say not to use them, huh?
We
What's-
shouldn't use
Not
the,
for mixing.
we always use wooden spoons.
Yes,
If
for
you
mixing.
don't have wooden spoons, you can use the plastic ones are okay too.
Or silicone one.
Mm.
I've seen many videos where people use metallic things, and probably it works also. Just I use, and Atta also, we use
Wooden.
wooden spoons.
And yes, you can use a paper towel on top of the jar. It's fine too.
Okay.
Paper towel or any kind of tea towel, cloth.
What is this?
That's
It just
sugar.
has
That's
to
a
be
sugar.
very
Well, it's jaggery.
One teaspoon. I think that's all right.
No, that's enough.
Yep.
Beautiful. Yeast will love it.
Absolutely.
You can't imagine how lovely this process is. Observing this thing which was starting with something like that, and we end with something similar like that one.
Good.
So that's what happened after 7 days.
Wow.
Maybe a bit less, maybe up to here, because like I said, this is my one, which I have it for a while, and I use it for making the bread. This is already fed one. For this reason, it grew up. I had it just on the bottom, something like up to here. And it grew within 1.5 hours.
Wow.
That means it's really strong too. So that means that all the bacteria and all the yeast are living in a very good house.
Did you use the same rye flour? Same one? Or that
Yes,
one?
Wholemeal?
yes, wholemeal rye flour.
Smelling very nice at the moment.
You know, girls, if you do not have any digestive problems, what I've been listening to, this one is strongly recommended. Other one also, but this one is strongly recommended.
We just put rye flour on them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's already sort of become, with this mixing, it's already started to become quite puffy and thick.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good sign.
Looks like the yeast is growing now.
Oh, you will see after a few days.
It's enjoying the sugar.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good start. So
Yeah.
that's the flour. That's what we have in here.
Very nice.
Record kare on video.
Yeah.
Record kare video. Yeah, but
And
you're
that's
over.
how it's going to be after 7 days. You can see all the bubbles. That means that yeast are growing. And you can see some on the top as well. Okay, good. Looks good. And that's the bread you can make out of it.
One of many kinds. Because my family likes this one and I stay with this one, which is like, I would suggest the best option because this is spelt flour. All spelt flour. Actually, this one has just spelt flour because I didn't have anything different at home.
Okay. Are you guys ready to put it in the cupboards? You could keep the jar.
Wow.
Did you make it with white flour? In my case, because my kids, they prefer wheat flour, because this bread, it's quite heavy and dense. Not everyone likes it. My kids, they prefer like white flour, so I still use the same starter, the same mother, but instead of adding spelt flour or rye flour when you make bread, I just add regular flour. And I just put a little bit of seeds, like, what did I put? Sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds because they like it. But that bread that I made was more fluffy and light. So that's the only difference. It's only because my kids, they prefer a little bit lighter bread. Maybe we can show you guys now how you make bread out of this.
I
Are you
will
ready for that?
before.
Can I ask one question, please?
Yeah.
Can I get the bread just from, like, for example, Uli's wholemeal or Cow's wholemeal?
Yeah, yes.
Nothing
kind of
fancy,
flour.
but no ordinary wholemeal. Nothing fancy.
If you can find something which is unbleached, I can show you.
Unbleached. Okay.
And usually unbleached. Usually wholemeal's flour, they are unbleached ones.
Unbleached ones. Okay. Fair enough. I can get it
Also
from
have it.
Uli's.
Yeah,
Yes, they have it.
Beautiful.
I just recently bought it at Coles.
Oh, I can show what do I have. This is not wholemeal, but can be used easily.
Okay.
Atta has the same. Did you make the bread from this one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's see.
This
Oh,
one which
Bikers.
Atta
Yeah,
used.
yeah. Bikers is good brand, but unbleached, is it? Bikers unbleached.
Here is written unbleached.
All right, good. I can get this one. That's a good.
Yeah.
Bikers unbleached flour. Okay, thank you. Beautiful.
You can use
Very
this one also. This will be like wholemeal one also.
Okay, wholemeal. Right, white wings. Right. Thank you.
But Atta used this one for her kids, and they really like it. Lauke, they are they look after of the ingredients, but pay attention. You are buying just regular flour because if they make the mixture for the bread, they already put some yeast.
Oh, so unbleached.
unbleached plain flour.
Plain.
Plain.
Ah,
Mhm.
The most important part out of everything else is to make this.
Mm.
And that takes 7 days. So it's a long process, but once you've done it, you can keep it in the fridge forever, basically. Just adding more flour every 7 days. Yeah.
Maybe first we finish this, and then I will tell you what we should do
Yes.
every week, okay?
yes.
Or every day.
Now we finish this.
Okay.
I will
Oh.
cover my starter because I am going to pop it into the cupboard, and I want for it be in the dark. it likes like more darky spaces, places than something what is too light. For this reason, my one will come here just to discover. But if you know that within a week, you will not use your oven, you can place it into the oven. Just into the oven. It works also. And like I said, because we experience some wet weather now, maybe our process can take for us 8 days. We should see some bubbles and the smell on the day 3 or on the day 4.
So now, sorry, now if I need to add flour tomorrow, I add it at this time of the day, this time?
About the same.
Half of the same amount of the water. We can see with this flour, we need to add similar amount.
Okay. And this time of the night, the time I started now, same time
About
every
the
day?
Yes,
Okay.
24 hours. It should be placed for one whole day.
Okay.
And then you just mix it in there. You just mix it when you put the more flour in. And
That's it. Yeah.
keep mixing it. Thank you. Exciting.
Now,
To make your own bread. It's really exciting.
It is exciting.
and I am
nice.
pretty sure, everybody, that you will make one bread every single week, because you do not have to make really big ones if you do not. You are not going to eat like really big one from 1 kilo of the flour. You can make something which has 60 grams of the flour, which we are going to make today. And usually all family within the week eats it. If for some reason you are not going to make the bread, you need to take your starter from the fridge and you need to feed it. I usually give for it something, firstly taking from the fridge, we need to give it the time for warming it up. It usually takes about an hour and a half. And then to the jar where you will keep it, you just add good big tablespoon of the flour and raya one like this one. And amount of the water a bit similar, maybe a bit more, just always the texture has to be like you seen today. Mix it, leave it on the, I prefer in the cupboard or in the oven, covered by the tea towel. Give it, for example, 2 hours for it. You will see if it's nicely bubbling. For stopping the process, you need to get 3 paper towels, like 1, 2, 3, like this way. Cover it, bend, and leave it for another time. I will show everything to you today because we are going to use half of this starter. Another part we will keep for another time. Before we start to make the bread, we need to know that sometimes could happen to us something what we do not wish. Do not worry, do not give up. Just there are some information that this is everything alive, and sometimes some features which happened around we can't predict. Like now we are having quite wet weather and we are having quite mold in the air. For this reason, it's good to be really careful. After feeding our sourdough and talking to it nicely, we should pop it to the cupboard and cover it by some tea towel, just trying to avoid any other little creature which are stronger than our ones. because they are stronger, they can come in and they can just make the party inside, which we do not like. And we can see it like if the sour will have some color, like for example, gray color or a bit red color, and we will feel some bitter smell, that means the mold has started to grow in and we can't use it.
Oh.
Sorry, but I need to tell it to you because we will observe what will happen. Sometimes we need to figure out a few things, whether can cause this situation, or if you should make some renovation in your home because some problem with ventilation, this kind of the things occur. It will be like the suggestion that we are breathing by something what we shouldn't, and our sourdough tells it to us also. Just sometimes the weather plays the role and everything what is there. What we can do also, which I will show you later, I have also sourdough, which is dry one. I just dried it. And it looks like that. Right?
Wow.
It is very easy to do. When you will have, for example, 3 weeks sourdough old, it's good to take some baking paper and wooden spoon and just make some marks on the paper and just dry it. You can dry it on the sun, or you can just dry it into your oven, but make sure that temperature will be something like 35, no more.
No, so you don't want to bake it. You want
No,
to
you
dry
can't bake it. You can't. What I've done, I just was waiting for nice sunny weather, and I just placed my piece of the baking paper on the sun. And I was watching how quickly it dries, because if it dries, if we are having a bit like windy weather also, it dries and goes away, flows away. For this reason, I just, made the coffee, I sat next to, and if I could see that something was ready to keep it in this jar, I just pop it into the jar.
Wow, that looks very cool.
This is the trick which somebody shared with me who is very, very experienced with baking. I didn't expect that something like that could be really useful, because when I wasn't successful with making sourdough, I just used this one. I just added to the starter, and because they are, this creature are already here, they were quite fast with growing. And for this reason, anything from the air couldn't be faster. They just occupied all the environment and they made lovely sourdough. This is like, competition. Sorry, everywhere we're having competition. And we need to just, be prepared that everybody wants to have the best. And they really want to have the best also, like the mold. We do not wish it, but they want. And it smells like a bread. Atta, you can be the tester.
Yes.
And how long will that one last, the dried one?
Forever.
Oh, almost forever.
Forever. Oh,
Forever.
I just keep it, because when I've been successful, I straight away, waited just something like 2-3 weeks when my sourdough was quite strong. And I just straight away dry it.
oh.
So once you've got this, and this is the longest process to make the starter, then you can do the rest. But that
And then
will take time. That's
You
the
just
only.
you just keep the starter in that jug and you just put it in your fridge.
This one,
And-
yes, yeah.
We
And then-
will make the bread today. Half of it we will use for making the bread. Half of it I will pop to the jar and I will keep in the fridge. And because this is already fed one, I easily, without any problems, will keep it in the fridge for 1 week.
And you just reusing it, reusing it, reusing
Yes,
it, reusing it.
Always keep the starter in your fridge, because you are just saving the time for making another sourdough, and it will be stronger, stronger and stronger. That means the process of growing, it's really fast. It even sometimes surprises me how fast it is. Like the suggestion of the bakers are, for example, you should wait with rising the bread for 6 or 8 hours. In my case, sometimes 2 hours, up to 3 hours. It is easy to observe. I show you what to observe in a second, because we are going to make the first bread right now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. We make this kind of the bread, which we sent you the recipe. This one which I made. Maybe some interesting information. If you will feed your sourdough and you will make it more watery, that means you prepare the environment for the yeast. And the bread will not taste like a sour. But if you will decide you want to have more sour taste, just feed it this way. Do not give a lot of the water, more muddy one. Then it will we create the environment for the bacteria, and the taste will be more sour. You will play with this. You will see. Probably you will catch it within the process. What do we need? We need the bowl. We need to have the jar for the sour. We need some scale, some for pan tray, and baking we will pop later. I will boil a bit of the water because we need to have lukewarm, but boiled water. This is lukewarm water, but this is too cold. We need to add a bit more. Okay, I will have my recipe. What we are going to do first? First, we are taking sourdough, and we should have here something like 200 grams of sourdough. I never measure anything, I just do this way. And another part, I will just keep for the next time. That part, it is this one, which I will save for the next week. All of the rest I'm using here. Okay. And what's going on with this one? Have a look. I keep this amount. I will make it clean on the edges over there. Now we're having 3 pieces of the paper towel. It's good to use 3 pieces because the top of this will be dry, like you know the skin on the top. If you use 3, it protects it from drying on the top. And now we wish it well, be happy and safe, and we place it to the fridge for next week, like this kind of the jar. Anyway, into your fridge. Maybe here. And that's it. Fridge stops the process of fermentation. It is good. And now, because I am greedy and I do not want to lose any of the dough, I just add the water here firstly. And I just would like to clean this jar as much as I can.